Hey guys, welcome back to the Nature Patch and welcome back to another video. So I've got a few jobs I need to do, and the first one is going through this list of tomatoes here and seeing which ones I actually planted in the ground, because I kind of planted them a little bit sporadically and some friends came over and planted some here and there. They all have labels in the ground, but I just need to go around and tick off which ones I have planted and how many I've planted. Everything has pretty much exploded in growth over the past few weeks. It's finally started getting a lot warmer at night, so a lot of the pumpkins and zucchini plants are loving the climate at the moment. So I'll give you an update on those, but first let's go and count how many tomatoes I have and see if I need to plant any more. It's also pretty windy again today, so I tend to film these in the afternoon when I get time, so I apologize in advance for the loud wind noises. So I've labelled all of these just using old milk bottle cartons, and I've just put the label on there. So this one here is a white cherry. So I'm just going to make a simple tally beside each of these names and see how many I get. Okay, so all up in here I have 20 tomatoes, so I'm going to go over to the raised beds and see what other varieties I have there, and then tally them all up and see if I need to plant any other ones. Definitely a nice day in the garden today. It is not too hot, not too cold, just perfect. So I've tallied them all up, and the most I have is the yellow pear, which is the one that I wanted to grow the most. I've got 3 plants of those, but I don't seem to have a tomato or a tropic variety planted. So I'm going to go see if I can find them in the stash of tomatoes that are getting very root bound in their pots, and hopefully get them in the ground. So I found this one here. This is a tomato variety. So I'm probably going to plant this one in the raised bed behind me, and I'm going to go see if I can find some of the tropic varieties. So I've been keeping a lot of my seedlings closer to the house so that I can obviously water them a little bit easier, but they are super ready to go in the ground, and yeah, they're just not very happy in their pots. So this is the jungle of tomato plants that I have. Let's find a tropic. Here is one. So that one looks okay. I think along with the tropic and the tomato, I'm also going to plant another atomic grape variety, just because they look really cool and I really want that one to do well. So I'm going to plant these in this big bed here, and obviously take out that lettuce that is seriously wilting. And then when I go into town over the next few days, I will be picking up some more of these stakes, because that's how I like to stake my tomatoes, just with one single stem, sometimes occasionally 2 if I can tie them onto another stake, but that's how I'm going to be growing my tomatoes this season. Okay, so those 2 extra tomatoes are planted. I just wanted to show you the roots on this lettuce. It's actually amazing what this lettuce grew in. This is really poor soil, to be honest. The structure of this is, what I did was I layered it with a lot of manure and sugarcane mulch, but it hasn't really broken down over time. Fine for the tomatoes, they seem to actually really like it. But for things like the lettuce, their roots just went wherever they could. But yeah, I guess this no-dig gardening method seems to work for a lot of plants. For some of them it didn't work too well. For instance, the beetroot didn't really seem to like this area, neither did the radishes. So I probably won't be planting root crops in here for a while. The tomatoes seem to be doing great, obviously the nasturtiums. And the cucumbers also are doing pretty well. So I'm pretty full with this bed here with a lot of our greens and spinach. But I do have a little bit of room on the end where I'm thinking of planting some of my Chinese celery. I'm really not too sure how that's going to go. just because it is quite warm now, and I think they do prefer some of the cooler temperatures. But I grew some Chinese broccoli in here before, and we harvested that the other week and got like 2 full bags of broccoli to eat, so we've been putting that in stir fries. And so I'm going to try the Chinese celery and see how it goes, but yeah, I'm not hopeful, but if it doesn't work, I have so many other things that I can plant in there, so it's not the end of the world. Okay, you're kind of positioned in my garden bed, so fingers crossed you don't fall over. But I have a tray here of some greens that I wanted to plant. The only thing, my mustard greens in the middle all went to seed, so I won't be planting those, but I do have some traditional celery and also some Chinese celery that I'm going to be planting. And these are all really ready to go in the ground, so I need to get them in the ground. Wow, there's a massive caterpillar on that. That's disgusting. So I had a feeling something was eating my seedlings, and I was very right. Really hard to see, but he's right there. He can go now. So celery is generally a pretty heavy feeder. They like really rich nitrogen soils. So after I finish planting everything else, I'm actually going to go grab some worm tea from my worm farm and water them all in nice and well. So I've planted a little bunch just on the side here. I know they're quite packed in together, but that's okay. I'm just going to be picking them as I go and keeping them maintained. And then I've just planted a patch over here, so I guess we're going to find out whether the normal tall Utah celery or the Chinese celery works best in my climate. The last thing that I need to plant today is my Kajari melons. These have been dying to go outside. They're really leggy and they really need to go in the ground. I don't know how well they're going to go being transplanted, but I do have a few more seeds if I need to sow some more. So I'm going to plant them in this bed here. So fingers crossed they do well here. I really would love a Kajari melon to taste. I've never tasted one, but rock melon is one of my favorite fruits, so I'm sure I will like them. And while I'm here, this is basically turned into a mini garden tour because I haven't had time to film one lately. This is how my store-bought potato is going. It's a pretty healthy plant. Let's hope it's producing some potatoes underneath. So I've earthed this up about 3 times, and now it's up the top. I'm just going to let it grow, and once it starts to die back, then I'll see what's underneath. Alright, so I'm going to wrap the video up here. I've got some really exciting videos coming, including some really awesome recipes that I'm using with my produce, so I'd really love to share that with you. I hope you enjoyed this video, and until next time, happy gardening. Bye!